Hello, my ladies and pretty gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Look What's Happening in the Spirit Realm with yours truly, Light. Today, I've got a very fiery message for you. What I'm hearing is the spirit, the energy that you have came to conquer. This is the lifetime that you do so. And this is a very intricate message. This starts within your family because I'm getting this energy of a spirit that has followed you across many lifetimes, many planes of existence in many different forms. A lover, a friend, a same-sex lover. This is someone who has followed you across timelines and across planes that they've never really fully achieved what they wanted to achieve. And what's interesting is that in this lifetime, this is an energy or an entity that got a leeway towards you when you were vulnerable, aka in a parental figure or someone that took care of you when you were younger. This is someone that had had a very vulnerable access to you. But what's interesting is that there is a weakness to this person, to this energy, this entity. And it's a weakness of recognition, a weakness of being put first. And what I'm seeing is a child who, you, my dear lover, who since you were very young, had this capacity to see the fact that you were dealing with psychopaths when you were dealing with them. You were seeing the spirit within the person that was operating in it. And the way that I'm shown how you've handled this is almost giving this energy, this entity within this parental figure, within this person, the desire that they had to be recognized. You may have adapted to put their needs first on purpose. You may have adapted to swindling them into making sure they don't hurt you by giving them the idea that they were ahead, that they were actually being petted or loved or admired and recognized. And what I'm seeing is that this is someone who has had a very deep attachment to that resource, to that recognition that you gave them. And they may not have actually directly said it, but they couldn't replicate it. If this is a familial situation, which is what I'm seeing, it's a familial, communal type of dynamic that is really playing out today. They were not able to replicate that energy. And it's almost like this is someone who fooled themselves. Again, that is a weakness of theirs, to be recognized, to be worshipped. They fooled themselves into believing that because you provided them with that energy, perhaps more than anybody else did. And the reason why they didn't is because they were actually operating one-on-one. They were operating with this person as if they were a person. They never really saw the entity that was operating within this person like you did. But you saw it when you were younger. And I posted this on my threads yesterday. If you are curious about my threads, it's linked in the description box below, but I'm going to tell you here. I posted this on my thread saying, you may have had a large memory loss when you were younger. Like you don't quite remember the majority of your childhood. And if this is resonating with you, this is for you. You were quite literally at war and operating several steps in a spiritual rank before you even had a chance to take your first step, before you had a chance to leave the crib. Because that's how I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it like a baby who is quite literally maneuvering through the entity of the parental figure that was supposed to take care of them. But again, that entity came for you when you were vulnerable, because that is how desperate and that is how much of a leg up this entity needs against you. But this is what I'm hearing. Whew, this is going to be a deep one. Wow. I really dove in. This is someone who's at the end of their rope. And they've had a lot of people listening to them and carrying out their plans, almost feeling duped by them, right? Because I'm getting this energy of someone who, in your presence, may have made it seem like the animosity, the infighting that they were creating was actually for a result of getting closeness from people. It seemed, right? This is the thing where you are keeping the delusion held up by your mere presence. And even after your absence, the impact of your presence was kind of trailing behind you and it wasn't quite catching up. It wasn't like an immediate withdrawal. That is how powerful your energy is, especially spiritually speaking, because this is someone who's been swapping out their spiritual resonance with yours subtly by trying to undermine you, but it's not direct undermining. This is someone who has tried to undermine your mental health by creating this dynamic within the family that you need support, that you need to be handled delicately. But that is a disguise, because what is happening is that these people, the people that are coming towards you, perhaps even in the family, friends that are coming towards you, this person for some of you belongs to a cult, and their outreach is much further than just familial sibling rivalry or dynamic. Just a heads up here. But it still applies. Whether or not this is a person that involves themselves in a cult and has a deeper outreach, it still applies. When they were sending these people out towards you, what these people didn't understand was that they came towards you charged with a spiritual charge. They didn't even know why they were charged that way. They just came towards you with this understanding of you that was quite delusional. And it wasn't direct. That's why I really want to enunciate how nuanced this point is, because it wasn't direct. It was very indirect. And the trailing off of your presence, that essence of yours that still lingers, that is the charge that this person uses to transmute into a shadow so that they can implant it and keep it spinning, keep it being recycled within these people, these family dynamics, these relatives, these friends that are in touch with them. That is how they're doing it. But what's happening is that these people, they're feeling duped because your presence, right? It's kind of like you've quarantined this person spiritually. That's what I'm hearing. It's like they've been quarantined spiritually. And the people that are being sent out under the guise that you need mental support, and I'll tell you why that's the case, but they're feeling energetically duped because they come towards you feeling like you might need connection, that you might even have a sense of desperation, that you are kind of at the tail end of something. But when they come towards you, they actually understand that you're very practical, you're self-mastered, that you're not actually hedging your support system off of people. And because of that, you're not actually manipulatable. You operate with your principles intact. That's what these people are realizing. And so they can't quite unmask and understand the reasons why they're operating in that kind of spiritual charge towards you. Because when they come towards you with that charge, they're being met with a very plain energy. It's not allowing them to plug in or allowing them to interact with you from that place. And because of that, these people are going back to this person feeling a sense of disillusionment, feeling duped, feeling like this is someone who is just immature, that they're just throwing out stones to throw out stones. But they don't know the deeper role at play, because these are people that I've called pawns in my threads multiple times. They don't know the deeper role behind it. And this is what I'm talking about today. The reason why this person sends out these people under the guise of spiritual support is because they know they have charged them against you spiritually. And when these people enter your life and create that energetic ruckus, they shake up your emotional state, your emotional stability, that is where this person wants to root in. Once your emotional stability is shaken up, they believe that you are going to step down from the place that God has put you in. If God has put you in a spiritual community where you're doing a lot of good work, that's where they want you to step down from. If God has put you in a workplace where you're actually really heading the charge, leading the charge, and making changes, creating innovations, whatever it is that you're doing that God has put you in, they want the support system that they're sending towards you to act like a deterrent, to act like a roadblock, so that you can be emotionally caught up and believe when you step down, believe that you're stepping down because things just didn't work out, That's how this person wants it to appear. But it's not because things didn't work out. It's because this is someone who is purposefully sending people emotionally charged towards you. Like, they're sending people with this understanding that you're playing a game, that you're judging them, that you're operating from a high horse, that you're actually the one creating the problem within the family, when in reality, you're not even a part of the drama. And now, this is someone who is literally being put on a spotlight, on display, that they're just creating drama. They're just creating drama because they don't want to actually understand that God has put them down. God has put them down from the place that they put themselves up into. God has put them down and has stripped them of the identity that they have tried to masquerade in. That is what's happening. That is what's happening. This is someone who's trying to delay their downfall. And what's very interesting is that when this is being unveiled, people that are coming into your life are realizing that you're actually taking care of your mental health. That's what's happening. It's not the reversal of you being mentally distraught, and that's why you're bored of the family. That's why you've left and neglected them. That's not the truth. The truth is that you are actually preserving your mental health from the same person who has been acting like a victim and creating distance between the family that they're claiming that they're creating closeness with. That's what's actually happening. And the closer that people are getting to you, they're realizing that there's a lot of stability from you emotionally, spiritually. They feel almost robbed because they come towards you and they feel their nervous system calming down. They feel happy and at ease. And in order to keep it, they don't know exactly how to keep you around. That's what I'm hearing. But in order to keep you around, they're playing these games because, again, these are people that have been spiritually charged against you and they don't quite even know it. They don't know it. They think they're neutral. And I've spoken about this in my threads again. They think they're neutral. They think they're actually the ones with an even keel mentality. That the person that they're coming from, right? The person, the family, the parent, somebody, the energy that I've spoken about, whom you've come here in this lifetime, whom has followed you into this lifetime. That entity, right? These people don't understand that they're coming from that place of disillusionment when they come towards you. And so when they feel that sense of calm, that sense of leadership, that sense of certainty and decisiveness coming from you, they feel like they're the ones who are mentally unstable. And in order to balance out the scales, they try to tear you down. That's what's happening. And what's interesting is that these people more likely than not are getting backlash. And they're realizing when this person doesn't get what they want, they don't let anybody have peace. There's no peace. And the moment that these people feel any type of peace is when they're around you. And they don't want to admit that. They feel like because they're feeling peace towards you, they have to target you. They have to attack you in order to keep that peace, which is kind of strange. And it's the reversal. They're not operating from their truth and their heart. They're operating from a manipulated mind. And they're believing they're actually seeing things straight. This is the mental manipulation that has been playing out. And what I'm hearing is keep the spirit quarantined. You are quite literally at the cusp of seeing this spirit that has been after you completely fall apart. You are at the cusp of seeing that prophecy unveil itself to you. And for a lot of you, you're going to get memories returned to you. You're going to get bits and pieces of your childhood and how you've actually been handling this person before you even learned and unlearned a lot of these spiritual things. And before you became an adult, you lost yourself, you've regained yourself over and over again, and you refined your tool of protection. You have quite literally come into this life as a child, able to emotionally and spiritually digest this person's rot, this entity's rot. And you've been playing this entity since you were a babe, since you were a fetus, like a baby. That's what I'm hearing. That is how powerful your spiritual transmutation has been. And this is what these people are realizing, that this person is actually afraid of losing traction, of losing respect, of losing support and recognition, because you've stepped in and the fruits of your energy speak for yourself. It goes before you. The fruits of your energy is that people come in, they feel seen, they can either handle it or not. They feel loved, they can either self-sabotage or not. But the issue isn't your mental health. The issue is that people are actually having a mental health breakdown, and this person is trying to pin it on you because they're so distraught that they haven't destroyed you. That's what's going on. They're so distraught that what they've tried to do, they can't do in secret anymore. They have to come out in the open and hate out in the open, because all the secret operations that they've tried to do in the background have come to a close. They've come to a wrap. And because their intention was providing you with false support systems so that you can feel emotionally burdened and step down from where God has put you, this is someone who's being pulled down from where God never put them. They're getting exactly what they've planted for you. That's what's happening. And now people are beginning to see that. Like, a lot of people, I'm going to tell you this, the truth. A lot of people feel duped. They feel like they couldn't straddle you. They couldn't put you at odds with yourself and with your spirit. And that's where they needed to be in order to have you in their presence and still maintain connections with this energy. And the reason why is because they don't see the spiritual battle at hand. They don't see the fact that this person isn't just hurt because you've left the family or you've left the connection. This person is hurt because they cannot spiritually sabotage you. And they cannot keep on their delusion. They cannot keep up with their manipulation. Their charge, their power has completely dissolved because their power resided in whatever you brought to the table and them inverting that. That's how Satan, that's how it works, is they cannot create anything of their own. They need the light to invert it. And if they don't have access to that, they are quite literally like a virus who has been quarantined, and the patient zero stays patient zero. There is no spreading around the virus. That's what's happening. So when people grab that spiritual virus and come towards you to try to spread it, they can't. What ends up happening is they get in battle with themselves, and eventually that battle has to give way to something else. They either have to transmute it. Usually they kind of blame you. That's kind of where they go. It's easy to go there. They blame you, attack you. And if you continue holding your ground, what happens is that internal battle starts to turn the mirror, and they begin to see exactly what they didn't see. They begin to see the spiritual wiring behind why they even sabotaged themselves. That's what's happening. And for a lot of you, this is someone who has been so obsessed with what is going on in your life, your whereabouts, especially your romantic relationships, because that is where the most charge resides. That is where the most charge resides. When you were neglected, attacked, assaulted, hurt, betrayed, traumatized, when your light was so fragmented, this is someone who built an empire off of those fragments. They built their resonance, they built their accolades, spiritually speaking. I'm speaking spiritually. Quite literally though, it also translates in a physical realm, but it all starts in the spirit. They've built themselves from that shattered bits of you, and it started because you were a baby and you needed to protect yourself and your vulnerability by giving them something, because otherwise they would have killed you. That's the truth. You had to give them something. My left ear is quite literally burning. You had to give them something. Like, you had to give them the recognition, the admiration that they needed, because as a child, as a baby, you saw the fact that this is someone who's committed and capable of homicide, if it had to come to that. Like you saw through them. That's what I'm saying. You saw into their spirit through their eyes, and you operated from that place, and they've been living off of that power that you gave them since you were a baby, because you were a baby. That's why this energy came towards you in a vulnerable state, because they had to start from ground zero. They had to start from a place where you had to give them your power to survive. And this is the energy, this is the entity that you have come to crush. And that's what's happening. This entity is being compartmentalized, being boiled down to its initial source. And when it is revealed, it is going to be revealed for rot. And the mental instability this person has relied on, everything is going back to that source. That's what I'm getting today. That full moon yesterday was absolutely powerful. Absolutely powerful. You should feel completely lighter. Like things could feel more colorful. Things could feel like they're easily moving. You could feel a sense of motivation coming back to you, creativity coming back to you, just a sense of ease. Like you're almost like a waterproof bird. That's what I'm hearing. I hope it resonated. I really do. As usual, I don't reach out. Those are scammers. Everything you need to know is in the description box down below. My book, Sad Girl, my Threads accounts, my poetry page, everything is in the description box, and including the blog. Please read the blog. I'm going to be expounding on these theories, on these archetypes, and I always beat it into you guys, but you're not going to regret it. Check it out. It's in my shop, the Seers Journal. It's also on my Voyeurs blog. It's all down below. So until next time, everyone. Ciao.